Hello, welcome to SquishiVision. I pressed the wrong button because my cats are in the way. We're reacting to the first two episodes of Skeleton Crew, which are this could be a real adventure and way out past the barrier. God, I need to stop doing these like early in the morning. I also need to mute this. Alexa, volume 0. Why aren't you charging? So this is John Watts' new Star Wars show, and I like it. It's not without its flaws. But I think a lot of those are cosmetic. Some of the writing is. The thing is, what's really good about the show is it feels nostalgic. It feels like it delivers on the promise of it feels like a children's adventure film or show from like the 90s, early 2000s. Like it, I have never watched the Goonies, but I've heard it described as being Goonies in space, and it does seem to like hit the vibe of what I'd expect that to be. The kind of that. Okay, sure. Some of the CGI of the what's the planet called? Alatin, being in like really bright light. Some of it looks quite dated. Not like by a much, not by a lot, but dated by a small degree. But also that kind of datedness fits the aesthetic of being like a show that's from a couple of decades ago and like hitting those nostalgia points. I said in the trailer that I was kind of impressed by a lot of the delivery of lines from the kids being quite charming, and then some lines being a bit stilted, and the watching episodes is kind of a mixed bag. Some of the stuff which seems stilted in the trailer actually flowed better in the episode, as I predicted it would be, because sometimes, you know, you chop up dialogue so you get the nice sound bites, but because it's not delivered in the same like line, the cadence doesn't agree. I think I was picking up the bits from the when outside the principal's office, and that whole like scene is like chopped out of order completely. Like in the show, Fern is the one who first speaks to Wim and asks him why they're in for, rather than Wim starting a conversation, and the reactions of different lines, which is normal trailer stuff. Other lines that aren't in the trailer, that are in the episode, are a bit kind of stilted. But look, I don't think like kids are immune from criticism, and I think frankly it's disrespectful and condescending to act as if because they're kids they can't be criticized. Hello, Rye. So I will criticize them, but like on a scale of really bad child actors and really good child actors, they are definitely in the upper like percentile of upper quarter of that. I should probably move to the side so you can actually see the messages people put through in the chat. Yeah, we're definitely kind of in the upper kind of like quarter of that. By which I mean there are parts of the episode where they act very well, the parts of the episode they dogs very well, and it's clearly they've got potential, they just haven't got there yet, is what I'm getting from these episodes. It's very limited kind of exposure to actors. The dialogue, I don't think disservices them. It's not like some of the dialogue is a bit, how do I say, unnatural, but so is a lot of Star Wars dialogue. And I think when it's a child actor saying those lines, it comes across even more unnatural. Because there's also an adult writing these lines for children. But equally, but like, you know, it's unnatural in a very theatrical sense that a lot of, again, shows from like a decade, 2 decades ago, kids would say certain lines. And the point I'm trying to lead to is if, oh, and even like I've just seen here, John Watts, according to this Wikipedia excerpt, John Watts was trying to do Amblin entertainment. That's probably a better way to describe it than the Goonies type, an Amblin entertainment type of coming of age story. Well, I was getting to a point and I kind of like couldn't mind it. Oh yeah, if I was like a kid watching this 10, 20 years ago, I would be like, this is really good. I bet you know if I watch like something like Savage Adventures, which for me is like peak children like TV that doesn't like talk down, I'd probably say the dialogue is a bit like theatrical, or unnatural. I'm watching this and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the aesthetic. I'm enjoying that we're leading into this kind of adventure. I've seen one review headline describe it as a wish fulfillment, and that did it. I'm watching it, trying to put myself in the mindset of like an 8, 9, 10, 13-year-old person watching this show, and I'll be watching. I'll be so excited, I'll be like, "Oh God, I wish that was me." And that's what the show's meant to, what the show is meant to do. And there's so many interesting pieces, like the world, like I've seen the trailer, and I say this now, the whole like complaints about freaking roads in Star Wars. Like, come on, who cares? Also, this roads have existed in Star Wars before. Like, that's been a thing. Every single path that a speeder bike has gone down has been a road. Yes, sure, a lot of planets they just fly. I think actually Coruscant's basically ruined the whole idea of roads. Like, Coruscant doesn't have roads, but Coruscant's actually special in that respect. We've been to the planet that's in Star Wars Rebels that they center around. There's roads in there. There are roads in The Mandalorian, like a big like for the truck to go on. This isn't any different. Suburbans, and this still, like, now I've seen the full context of like the place to live in. It does seem very Star Warsy, and Star Wars has always been about taking like something that exists in real life and like sticking bits of sci-fi and glue it on. Like, half the weapons are all real life weapons that have had like sci-fi bits glued on. It's fine, and also the mystery that we've been given now, the ongoing plot, is that this planet that they've all come from, they all seem to see as this kind of mundane, you know, boring, everything they've always known, nothing special. Everyone kind of, it's, you know, in a very kind of Kryptonian fashion. Everyone, or divergent fashion. People do tests and they get allocated what the jobs to do for the rest of their lives. In a way which is kind of dystopian, and they've known this for their entire lives. And then they go onto this Parrot Cove, and apparently their homeland is this mythical, almost like fantasial fairy tale place that's meant to have eternal treasure on it. So clearly there's something about this planet which isn't quite... There's a mystery, and I think a lot of the reason why the planet is the way that it is, and why some of the tech is a bit backwards and some of it is contemporary, I think is going to play into that, possibly. Speaking of tech, I love the kind of callback to the Star Wars holiday special, where I think we're getting to a point now where we're being a bit more forgiving of it having existed, and we got those circus performers holograms. Bold of Skeleton Crew to reference that explicitly. Also, we get a reference to, I think, Aldani, the planet in Andor. It was described as a sulfur bog. Kind of implies that that's the result of occupation from the Empire / purging from the Empire. I like the dystopian nature of all the teachers being droids. Everyone kind of being very stagnant. A lot of like prodigy vibes here, but kind of the interaction between the crew as being people who don't get on, like even the like is good because it is a clear trajectory I can see here for them to bond, and I'm all for that kind of wholesome nature stuff. Nick Frost by far, and also SM33. Star Wars' droid companions often good. There's some that they haven't done very well, but between IG in The Mandalorian and SM33, they've not really failed to kind of not deliver on that, and Nick Frost does a really, really good job. Delivery of lines, obviously Nick Frost is just doing with the lines, but the delivery of lines really good. The design of the robot, now that we've seen it in much more kind of context, is interesting. The fact that they're his first mate droid who walks like a pirate. I love how much they're leading into the kind of the pirate vibe, and I like how we're going to increase that going along. Obviously it's Star Wars pirates, but you've got a droid who only has one eye and a mouse lives in it, and he's got a peg leg, but he's actually a capable fighter, apart from the time when he doesn't fight properly. He isn't checking his 6 rather. I love how all the kids are kind of out of their depth in different ways, but I enjoyed. There are parts of the... We haven't seen much of a ship yet, and I think it'll be a while before we do get to know a ship as a character. But we've seen bits and pieces. Oh, I don't know if it's meant. I think the show is trying to make us. I think the show is trying to make it a reveal that Jude Law's character, who is of yet unnamed, what Wikipedia tells me is called Nawood. It's clear that Jude Law is the pirate in the mask, the pirate captain in the mask from the cold opening, who gets faced with a mutiny. It is ostensibly obvious that is the case, and I know it's hard to strike the balance between, well, you don't want to make it hide it too much because ultimately you want to give the audience a chance to figure it out. But I'm sorry, I know Jude Law's inflection far too well to not recognize his voice under that mask. They didn't do enough to distort it. I can tell you Jude Law's inflection, and even if they didn't, the fact that they end up in the brig of the same crew, it's like, oh, this is clearly what happened. And it's fine. It's an age-old pirate trope, and Star Wars does tropes very well when it takes existing tropes and packages it under like Star Wars skin. And also the fact that Jude Law was credited in the very first episode, but we don't see them otherwise. And you might think that's a contractual thing, but Nick Frost wasn't on there in their main cast as well, so really makes you think. Yeah, it hasn't come at me with the punchy start that I was hoping or expecting, but it's definitely enticed me with this mystery. I really want to know what the thing is at it, and I hope we deliver on that. Where this is meant to be 6 episodes long, so we're already. Sorry, I've read them as well. 8 episodes long, so we're already a quarter way through. It's a very, very limited series, and we're a quarter way through already. It's this best month, first 2 weeks of January. But I'm going to be very excited to see what we get. So, yeah, quick review. I should probably go to bed because I'm going to be up in about 5 hours, 6 hours. I've got someone doing the gas, so gotta bounce. So that's been my reactions. Thanks for tuning in, and I've just realised that I've not watched the latest episode of Lower Decks, so that's gonna be what I do tomorrow probably. Okay, but it's definitely hitting the promise of, like, and I quote, galactic version of a classic Amblin Entertainment coming of age story. So definitely tune in, ignore some of the visuals, and I think you'll warm up to it. Okay, get out of my house.